Brandon is too old, but this take is mid as fuck. I legitimately 100% stand on this. I think Brandon's brain is definitely gone. Okay. It's not impressive that he met with Mitterrand. Or he remembers Mitterrand. It's not impressive because he just has like all of these. Those are the last times that his brain has been fully functioning. Okay. I just like, guys, real serious question. Okay. Here's the test. And I ask this all the time. I've brought this up before with Dianne Feinstein. Okay. The test is this. Do you feel comfortable with him driving the car? You get in the car, he's driving. Do you feel comfy? Are you good? Are you like, oh, I'm safe? Hell no. Get the fuck out of here. No shot. Okay. That's it. That's it. That's it. He should not be behind a wheel, let alone behind the wheel of the nation state. Okay. And it's like odd because so many people look at this. What's with defending Joe, chat? That's weird. He's old. It's because people recognize the writing on the wall and they know that like Trump is worse than Brandon. So they're just basically trying to lie to themselves and others because they think like being a partisan, being a loyalist in this situation is going to somehow save American democracy, not realizing that like the DNC keeps pumping this message, okay, that this is going to be saving American democracy, while simultaneously they're the ones who are capitulating and caving to destroy American democracy. Okay? Now, I don't think, still with all of this, I don't think that the Republicans are going to win easy here, okay? Because the Democratic Party's platform and the Democratic Party is like relatively more popular than it's ever been. And not only that, but Brandon has also done things overall that definitely play well. The issue is he's the worst person to champion this cause. Okay? There was a reason why like a generic Democrat, faceless, nameless Democrat is 18 points more popular than Brandon. And that is because this is not a thing that you can manage. Okay? This is not just a simple gaffe. It's not just like, oh, he misspoke. And the more liberals say, oh, he's just misspeaking, they're just going to look like hacks and loyalists and partisans. This doesn't mean that like Trump is all there either, but Trump is definitely more coherent than Biden, even though he's fucking insane. Okay? That's it. Between the two of them, at least Trump knows that at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. Okay? Biden doesn't know what day it is. Biden doesn't know what time it is. Trump at least knows at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. Maybe he doesn't know that if you subscribe, you could avoid the 3-minute ad break, avoid seeing it, you know, for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Right? Man, he's been old forever, too. Look at him at 30.
The youngest new face in the U.S. Senate next year will be that of Democrat Joseph Biden of Delaware. So young, in fact, that at the time of his election on November 7th...
This is, like, Brandon is younger than me here, okay? Bro, it's black and white. That's crazy. That's crazy. Stop playing with me, dude. Here's the 3-minute ad break now, by the way. System Stars, thank you for the 5 gifted subs.
Biden was not yet old enough to serve. Yesterday, that problem was resolved. ABC Capitol Hill correspondent Bob Clark has the story.
They gave a surprise party yesterday.
Bro, he's 30 here, okay? He's 30. He's so old. This is when he's like younger than me, and they're using the transatlantic accent on television. It's black and white. I got to pee. Hold on. I'll be back.
Biden will make history because of his age when he takes his seat in the new Senate. The boyish-looking father of 3 young children was celebrating his 30th birthday. That makes him just old enough to be a United States Senator, 30 being the minimum age prescribed by the Constitution. Biden, a liberal Democrat, pulled one of the big upsets of the election by unseating a 63-year-old Republican, Caleb Boggs. In Washington today, he was having trouble convincing some people he really is a senator. and having some doubts about the Senate seniority system, while hoping older members won't hold his age against him.
I expect these fellows are going to eventually judge me on my merit, not on my age, and I have to establish that merit, assuming there is any there. I don't think it's going to be much of a problem. Beyond having other senators' staffs think I'm applying for a job or as a page or something.
Would you like to see some changes in the seniority system?
Well, I would like to see some changes in the seniority system, but, and it's not going to make any difference my saying this, but it's not because I'm 30 and
Dog, this is literally 1972, okay? Please. This is his first year in the Senate, 1972. He is literally younger than me, and he still looks so goddamn old. This is crazy. And he wants changes in the seniority system. Okay. So old before color was invented. Yes, dude. It is crazy.
I think that the seniority system has many more drawbacks, and it has.
Why giving up and just saying Republicans are going to win what we're resorting to? Biden sucks, but voting for other candidates isn't going to do shit. I'm trying to be realistic. Man, vote for whoever you want. Okay. I don't give a shit. Of course, don't vote for Trump. That's ridiculous. But like, don't come in here and fucking complain when I tell you how it is. Okay. It's ridiculous. Take it up with the Democratic Party. You're chirping at the wrong person. You're barking up the wrong tree, brother. My whole point is that the Democratic Party does actually have the power to change the outcome a little bit and has had it and has refused to exercise it. I'm sick and tired of this like false dichotomy that we present ourselves all the time. If Trump is a fucking fascist, okay? If Trump is a fascist and a genuine threat to American democracy, and I believe he is, right? For sure. I think there's a validity to that claim. What the fuck are the Democratic Party doing then? Why are they capitulating to the Trumpian right-wing immigration policies? They're like, Trump is a fascist, which is why we have to be fascists? Suck my dick. Get the fuck out of here. Trump is a fascist, which is why we have to keep doing genocide in Gaza. Get the fuck out of here. Come on now. My criticisms of the Democratic Party revolve around the Democratic Party doing bad politics and bad policy. Okay? If he's a fucking genuine fascist, how are you going to put a carcass and roll him over? How are you going to roll up a carcass that has been around since like before color TV was invented? It's crazy, man. Everybody talks a big game about appeasement, Neville Chamberlain, Neville. Okay. Well, this is our appeasement guy then. Okay. This is internally appeasing to Adolf Hitler. If you think Trump is Adolf Hitler, well, why is this the guy? Why is he the guy that's fighting against Hitler then?
Merits. Where I'm not going to lead any move to change that in my formative years in the Senate, but were there to be such a vote to come up, I clearly would vote to eliminate the seniority system.
The indications are that you may be 100th in seniority.
Anyway, genuine ask here, shouldn't we be focusing more on voting in the right VPs, given that both Trump and Biden are 100-year-old corpse fascists who dropped at any moment? Bro, I'm gonna be honest, evil never dies. So I mean, I think that both are evil in different ways, but like, dude, Trump is like a fucking dynamo. His heart is like all his entire blood flow is just lard, okay? I genuinely wonder how capable he will be at debates this year. I think that they're gonna try and not do a debate. Bad advice, dude. Republicans vote Trump no matter what. So why shouldn't we fuck it? If you want to vote for Biden, go right ahead. If you want to vote for Biden, go right ahead. But if you come in here, okay, I'm never going to tell you like don't vote for Biden, okay? Unless you are trying to extract a concession out of him, which by the way, it clearly doesn't fucking work regardless, but you shouldn't stop trying, okay? But having said that, if you come in here and act like voting for Biden is saving American democracy, you're wrong. I'm going to tell you you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. Okay? You're not right. Don't do this fucking classic, like, marginally better bullshit when we are currently going through the marginally better system. Oh, if we vote for Biden, we will make him change. We will make him change we will be able to pressure him. We'll be able to pressure him. He's the lesser of two evils. Look at the lesser of two evils. It's like far beyond the lesser of two evils is still evil. What percentage of the Republican Party's platform does the Democratic Party have to adopt entirely and champion for Democrats to turn around and go, you know what? Maybe this is the same as the Republican Party at this point. Because it is. It is. There is no third option. I'm simply saying, make up your mind, do whatever you want to do. If you want to vote for Brandon, okay? I'm not telling you not to vote for him. I always urge you to go out and vote regardless, okay? You should always vote, especially in your local elections, especially on your ballot measures. Those are actually very important, okay? But don't come in here and fucking act like, well, my hands are tied. Like, okay, all right, then vote for Brandon. Don't act like it's going to change anything, though. It's not moving the needle in the direction that you think it's moving. People are chirping at you because they have the guilt about their personal decisions. No, no, it's not just that. I think because people are chirping at me because they want me to basically lie to them, I think. Or they think it's like still a philosophical decision here. They're not seeing the bigger picture, okay? They're not seeing the bigger picture here at all. They're not recognizing that the Democratic Party is where the responsibility should be placed. I've been saying this since 2016. Okay? They take advantage of a false dichotomy, a false choice to put shit-ass candidates who then end up losing. Okay? I want the Democrats to win, and I want the Democrats to actually push for decent legislation, not like watered-down, nonsensical bullshit. I want the Democrats to fight as hard as the Republicans do. Okay? Difference is they don't. I'm not going to sit here and feed you fucking bullshit copium to make you feel happy about it, though. Okay? A multi-party system also will devolve back into the same two-party structure, which is technically a one-party structure anyway. Look at the fucking Labour. Look at the Labour Party in the UK. Look at the Tories versus the Labour Party. There's multiple parties there. What kind of concessions are they extracting? The border bill paired up with like the ongoing genocide in Gaza is a perfect example that the Democratic Party wants to lose or does not give a shit. Okay? They don't care. We are currently in the 1930s Germany era. Okay? We're on our 1930s Germany era. That is where we're at. 100,000%. That's it. Young people have a bad voter turnout problem. That's not the problem. It's not the problem. The responsibility is laid on the shoulders of those who control the political process. The institutions are at fault. Stop thinking it's like people just not going out and voting. Why would they? You are not looking for solutions. When you turn around and basically repeat what the DNC wants you to think, which is that it is actually the voters who are at fault because they just don't tactically vote because they're stupid. They don't recognize that they should be voting for us because they're too stupid and too selfish. Okay? I've said this time and time again. The irony is it's not rich people that don't vote. It's poor people that don't vote, man. The idea that it's like all privileged people that don't vote is so stupid. People develop apathy because they don't think that the Electoral College sucks, okay? And two, people feel like their needs are not met. The politicians don't even try to reach out to them. And then when they do try to reach out to them, when they play a big game about like fixing certain problems, they never actually end up fixing those problems. That's it. Like, I laugh at the viability of the third party because, like, I'm saying it doesn't really matter, right? Ultimately, it doesn't really matter ultimately, which is why it's even funnier when people are like, I'm going to vote for Gloria La Riva or whatever. It's like, fine, go ahead, have fun, you know? Like, third party choices are even funnier, in my opinion, than the current duopoly. Like, you're not breaking through that at all. Like, the way that our system is designed makes it impossible for a third party person to like legitimately get enough votes in all these other fucking states. You know? Rushing to be white and have all your childhood traumas remind you how lucky you are. What? It's crazy that people are still doing this vote harder bullshit after the 2020 election. Dems won, had both the House and the Senate. What do we get? Basically jack shit. Things are just as bad, if not worse in some ways, than they were under Trump. I'm not saying that that means don't vote, but you would have thought that the last 4 years would have thought the vote scored something. No, it didn't. It's never going to, because those guys are just playing team sports. They're not thinking about it from any other framework. Okay? They're just thinking about it from the perspective of like, team sports and team sports only. There's nothing else there. Anyway, so trying to argue, but what would you say the solution to this would be? Keep organizing outside of the party structure. You need to build power outside of the pre-existing party structure so that you can try and not motivate the party, the Democratic Party, but extract concessions. Okay? There is no world in which the bourgeois democratic process, which you shouldn't like refuse to participate in, for the record. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm not saying that you should stop participating in this process at all. I'm saying recognize that it's the least significant, most important thing you can do, voting, right? Sure. But also beyond that, work to create movements that can extract concessions from the Democratic Party, because there's no other way that you can actually get anything done. That's it. I don't know. I don't know how else to describe it. In my opinion, telling people that voting is their only option in political action and engaging in electoral politics is the only option for change, the form of political suppression that lives under the guise of voter rights. Yeah. What's your argument against voting third party? I don't have an argument against voting third party. I just think it's like, I think it's laughable to think that I already think it's like ridiculous to think that like voting for a person that is a part of the Democratic Party without any care or consideration for their track record, without any care or consideration for like what their message is supposed to be, is already ridiculous. It's already silly. Like, it's meaningless, right? There are marginal differences between the two parties and their platforms, but those differences get smaller and smaller when it comes to the actual issues that change your material realities, okay? Deregulation, tax cuts, things of that nature almost always find bipartisan support. Foreign policy especially always has bipartisan support. And beyond that, we've gotten to a place where that explanation didn't make sense. Wait, what? Can you explain why third parties useless? If they get 10%, doesn't that send a huge statement? It's not going to change in one cycle. First of all, this has happened before. it still doesn't matter. I think you guys legitimately I think you guys legitimately misunderstand how like third party voting works. You're doing the other thing, right? You're doing it'll work if you just vote for them, but instead of fucking doing it for Hillary Clinton, you're doing it for the third party. Okay? Like, there is no statement. There's no statement. The idea that you're like tanking the Democratic Party's chances of winning the presidency is surely going to teach them a lesson this time. Okay. Did 2016 teach them a lesson? No. So maybe you learned that lesson. What lesson did the Democrats learn from 2016? They lost, and then they spent every fucking waking moment being like, yeah, remember when the Bernie bros destroyed us and that's the reason why we lost? Yeah, they learned all the important lessons from that one, right? No, they didn't. They didn't learn. They didn't learn shit. They don't learn shit ever, okay? Trump is basically an outsider third party and took over the entire party's platform. Seems possible to do it with Dems. No, it's not. Because Donald Trump's opinions as a fucking right-wing weirdo, as a right-wing hyper-reactionary weirdo television host, is perfectly in line with the Republican Party's agendas. As a matter of fact, he communicated the Republican Party's agenda better to a broader population, while also simultaneously presenting himself as like relatively moderate, like a peaceful dove and shit. You know what I mean? It was insane. It was insane that it worked because Hillary Clinton was seen as like this establishment figurehead, and all of the negativity associated with the establishment was directly placed upon Hillary Clinton for good reason, for the most part. But like, obviously, Donald Trump wasn't going to be better than Hillary Clinton. The difference in why this doesn't work for the Democratic Party is because the Democratic Party's interests do not align with like a real anti-capitalist figurehead. Okay? That's the reason why like Bernie can't overtake the Democratic Party, at least as it stands currently. Maybe chatters need to hear something we can do, since clearly electoralism isn't the answer. I have told you what you can do. Okay? You make gains wherever you can. Start small. Organize. Organize in your workplaces. Okay? Organize within your communities. That's it. You have to build outside power so you can extract concessions from the Democratic Party. Even then, it might not work, but ultimately, that is how it takes a long fucking time, but that is how you get to a point where you have some level of power to make the Democratic Party meet your demands. We watched yesterday Chuck Schumer defend a far-right immigration bill because, like, they thought it would be hypocrisy baiting. They could get the Republicans to look bad because, like, we pushed this incredibly far-right immigration bill, and then the Republicans didn't want to vote for it. Look how stupid they are. It's like, no, dude, you're the idiot. You just basically conceded that there is a massive problem with immigration at the fucking border, dumbass, and the right is always going to win that battle. Okay? It's so stupid. It's like being a football player and trying to fucking win a dunk contest against LeBron James. Play football. Why are you choosing to play basketball against LeBron James? You're a football player. The fuck's wrong with you? He's always going to beat you. It doesn't matter if he's not the greatest person at dunking, okay? It's so dumb. Let's go into their territory and let's fight on their terms and let's lose all the time is so dumb. Guys, I've been doing this for years, okay? You're absolutely correct. The concept of dual power that leftists constantly get wrong is not that it's labor and the state, it's labor and the party. We can do one before the other. Labor comes first. I've been doing this for more than 10 years at this point, okay? I'm on my 11th year of covering American news and politics, okay? On my motherfucking 11th year at this point. I've gone through election cycle after election cycle after election cycle. I am telling you, these guys don't give a fuck. We always go, oh, surprise Pikachu. I can't believe the Republicans blew up their own bill. They did it. They did it time and time again. They did it during the grand bargain with the Obama administration, where the Obama administration was the one who pushed, alongside Joe Biden, by the way, to cut Social Security. And the Tea Party caucus nuked it. The Biden border package is pretty much Stephen Miller's wet dream, just total fascist policy. Remember when people said that voting for Biden was harm reduction for immigration? Obama tried to cut Social Security Lamau. Thank God for the Tea Party caucus. Exactly. Thank God for the psychopathic Christian fascists that are like more interested in, voting in Trump, that the Democratic Party couldn't push this comprehensive immigration reform as like a bipartisan bill. And the way that it's being sold on television is making me want to fucking video game myself in a very public way, okay? And putting Morning Joe as the sole reason on my fucking note. Jesus Christ, dude. Morning Joe. Oh, Joe Biden loves watching Morning Joe. That's his favorite show. That's his Fox and Friends, right? It's not harm reduction if you literally look at the right-wing framing on immigration and go, no, we are the real guys who are going to be reactionary on immigration. You're at that point, you're not doing harm reduction. You're just like taking it on and doing the harm yourself. It's very stupid. See, look, and this is the secondary impact. Look. If you're that kind of, wait, what? I think you're kind of ignoring the Social Security spending is expanding at really insane rates, though. If we cut Social Security, there could be more spending available to get Hasanabi to do a Minecraft series. Oh, God. I thought this guy was like legitimately making the right-wing argument. Like, oh, Social Security is expanding. I mean, he is. I hear it all the fucking time. The secondary impact of this sort of thing is that people do adopt the right-wing framing on the issue because they are little fucking bots that just repeat what they hear on MSNBC. That's the problem. Okay? The problem is when the Democrats adopt right-wing framing, the Democratic voters that love to vote, they're like, oh, fuck, I love voting. Oh, my God, I'm going to vote so fucking hard like they're 78 years old or some shit, okay? Those guys turn around and start repeating the point that they start repeating the point that the Republicans were making last year. And that creates this normalizing effect. People, for some weird reason, do not understand this, and people, for some reason, discount it. Okay? Democrats end up calcifying right-wing reactionary perspectives and right-wing reactionary framings. Okay? Dude, how are you so cranky after we just been blessed with Drake? It's very, very frustrating. It's good that the Republicans blocked it, though, right? Yeah, I mean, it's good because, like, at least this dog shit legislation doesn't pass. But the reason why they blocked it is so that Trump can keep using it as a weapon against Joe Biden in the upcoming election. Like, yesterday, we watched Al Sharpton and Chuck Schumer defend right-wing framing on the border policies. This is crazy, dude. Anyway, let's start here, and then I'll give you the NIJC, National Immigrant Justice Center, Senate Supplemental Funding Bill, and how it is devastating to refugee protection analyses one more time.
Here in Washington, the Senate immigration compromise has gotten a big endorsement by a group that knows the issue well, the generally right-leaning Union for Border Patrol Agents, the people actually down there. But it doesn't look like it's going to matter because Republicans are being told to walk away from the deal by former President Donald Trump. Nicole Killian reports now on the politics that are killing this deal.
The bipartisan border compromise is now on life support in the Senate.
Every city in America is saying this has got to stop.
Lead Republican negotiator, Oklahoma Senator James Lankford.
This is the funniest guy, okay? The real, like, actually racist Republican guy who, like, doesn't get why we even have this conversation. Like, he's just like, nah, you don't understand. I just don't want them Mexicans in my neighborhood. Okay? We already gave it to the other Mexicans, the native Indians. Okay? We gave half of my state to the Indians, and I don't want the other half to go to the Mexicans. Indians are Mexican themselves. Okay? Different type of Mexican, but still Mexican nonetheless. Like, this is the one guy who's like, no, you don't understand. I do want to stop immigration. I do want to stop immigration. Do you understand? We already have New Mexico. Don't need an old Mexico. What is this? Where business are closing? AI is taking over 40% of jobs immediately. It's true, though. I read every day. I'm not crazy. I suggest you educate yourself. Where will the money come from? The homes, the food. We can't even take care of ourselves. We can. The problem is, this is exactly the reason why we feel like we can't take care of ourselves, because we're too busy fucking complaining about Mexicans coming over the border and how we must stop it. The real reason, okay, if you want a secret, if you want a conspiracy, that's not a conspiracy at all, but it's a reality that somehow people don't understand. The only reason that the immigration problem is a problem at all in a country like the United States of America is because we have a two-tier immigration structure. We have a two-tier labor structure that is designed on top of making a permanent underclass of black and brown immigrants coming into the country. That's it. If they were documented, okay, then there would be no way to legitimately use the undocumented labor pool as a way to depress wages against the documented labor pool. That's it. That's it. That's the reason why Republicans are not like actually fucking pushing for this anyway, because they rely on this being a problem. They rely on this being a supposed problem so they can present it as a problem to the racist fucking idiots, okay, that will get very mad and go out and vote for the Republican Party. This is the oldest trick in the book. Constantly going, those are the guys. They're coming in. They're taking your jobs. Now, it's not that they're taking your jobs. They're raping your daughters. Now they're doing crime, okay? Neither is true. Neither is true. The entirety of the American immigration process and the way that we have like criminalized immigration instead of allowing people to come in or making the process way easier so that we can have everybody documented is so that, you know, those devoid of documentation are permanently in like slave labor conditions. And when they speak up, they get clapped. They get deported.
Admits the bill may not have the support to pass a key procedural vote tomorrow after a contentious Monday night meeting with Senate Republicans. And there was this warning earlier in the day.
I would hope people don't make their decisions based on what a presidential campaign is going to do.
Former President Donald Trump is urging lawmakers to kill the package while taking aim at Lankford himself.
This is a very bad bill for his career. This is lunacy, this bill.
The measure would be one of the strictest border policies.
Look, I was thinking about this while I was taking a shower earlier, okay? There's two different kinds of races in this country, okay? Two different kinds of races. One, the kind of races that's like, yeah, we gotta make the Mexicans do the jobs that we don't want to do, right? And that's like the broadest majority races. And then you have the second kind of races that's like the die-in-the-wool, like Klansman who's like, no, brother, I don't even want to enslave the immigrants because I don't want to live around them. I see a taco and I go, yuck. Okay? And obviously that second races is marginal. It's like much smaller than the first kind of races. The first kind of races is basically bipartisan. Okay? Yes. The Oregonian racism. The Pacific Northwest being a white enclave devoid of slavery so that you don't want to be even around any black people whatsoever. That is the real aggro type of racism, okay? Many Americans do not fall in that category, okay? Many Americans do not fall in the Klansman category. This guy is presenting a bill that is literally in the Klansman category, okay? Stopping immigration dead in its tracks would cripple the American economy. That's the reality that people don't want to talk about at all for some weird fucking reason, okay? I feel like the sentiment among normie libs is that this bill is supposed to be good. Even Philly D presented the bill as if it's a tragedy that it most likely won't pass since Republicans are going to block it. Yes, because Democrats and the Democratic Party on the liberal line on this issue has basically become that immigration really is a problem when it's not. It's just like crime. I have been vindicated time and time again over the course of the past couple of years. People have come in and yelled at me, Hasan, crime is a major problem in the cities. You're so wrong. We have defunded the police. We've never defunded the police, and crime was never that big of a problem to begin with. And it was just simply just fucking hammered into your brain over and over again, all the way from local news to social media to next door apps like that, all the way up to fucking the Fox Newses and the MSNBCs of the world. And the same thing goes for immigration. Okay? Bro, you're just wrong on this point because they are talking about illegal immigration, not legal. Yes, brother. The difference between illegal immigration and legal immigration is simply documentation and processing. Did you know that? There is no difference between someone who is illegally coming over the border as far as like their humanity and someone who is legally coming over the border. That's the problem. That's the issue. You don't understand this, though. You think like magically when you slap on the illegal sticker onto someone that it's an issue. Illegal immigration is not an issue. We make it an issue simply so that these guys don't have any fucking legal recourse when they're working the jobs. If you truly were a real one, okay? If you were with the shits, if you were just straight up like, I don't want to be around a fucking Mexican for the rest of my life, fuck this shit, okay? If you were a real racist, you would be targeting the business owners, okay? If you truly wanted to stop illegal immigration in this country, okay, illegal immigration, right? You would go after the business owners. You would make it so that it is impossible to fucking hire an undocumented immigrant. And a lack of knowledge would not actually help you, okay? Ron DeSantis tried to do that. Not to the same degree, but that's it. But they don't do that. You know why they don't do that? Because everybody understands that you got to keep it illegal, but also still allow people to come in so you can abuse and use the undocumented laborers. Okay? That's what the bosses want. That's the entire reason why there's a tiered structure of immigration anyway. That's it. That's it. The only reason why immigration, undocumented immigration, actually is used as a way to depress wages is because these people have no fucking rights and no way of legal recourse, no way of like fighting back against it. Okay? It is one of the most devastating ways that the American economy runs. One of the secret ways in which the American economy heavily relies on more than 13 million undocumented immigrants working every goddamn day behind the scenes for incredibly low wages in awful conditions with the fear that if they actually were to demand back pay or whatever, they would get fucking deported. That's how it works. Okay? It's even worse than the way that the EU operates with like Polish workers, okay? Like there's obviously always going to be some level of like currency exchange or like cost of living being cheap in the host nation that creates an environment that makes it so that it's like much cheaper to hire someone from a different country, okay? There's already that. There's already that level of like inequality baked into any kind of migrant labor, okay? But we take it one step further. We take it one step further. That level of exploitation is not enough. We got to also, beyond that, make sure that these guys are like basically criminalized. Over 40 NGOs are actively working to bring in military-age men from all around the world, no families with them. Agenda 2030 is a globalist agenda. NGOs are actively spreading billions and bringing in military-age men with no families from China every day. What do you think is happening? Listen, I think you just don't have all the information on the subject. The information I have, sources cited, crack pipe. These are facts. Military aged male is such a funny way to frame this. Like, you think they're fucking invading the country by immigrating? Take your medication, dumbass. Oh my God. He's like, will you allow me to prove it to you? Let me put my tinfoil hat on. Agenda 2030 is literally Alex Jones bullshit. Yeah. Except, guess what? It's awesome. Willful ignorance? No, man, it's not willful ignorance to tell you that you are smoking the crack pipe when it comes to immigration. Lol, brother, I'm just laughing simply. What? Do you think the border force should be disbanded and an unlimited amount of people let through the border? Are you completely against border control? As if someone had a criminal record, are they okay to be let through? Brother, open borders does not mean that there is no surveillance, okay? Open borders does not mean that there is no, like, actual fucking processing, okay? Freedom of travel simply means that you can use legal methods to come into the country. That's what I'm advocating for. That's it. That's it. That's it. This does not mean that there isn't, like, any kind of border patrol whatsoever. This does not mean that there's any kind of law enforcement whatsoever. Typical leftist tactics, more derogatory comments about how the person you're debating so you don't have to face their argument. Bro, your argument is insane. What are you talking about? That's not an argument. I can't. Just write what you mean, okay? You write your proof, please. Mods, you can give him permission, parish bishop permission, so he can send me a fucking Infowars.com article so we can, like, go over it. Okay? Cites Alex Jones, complains he didn't take his argument seriously. I know. I don't know what to do here. The liberal right, freedom of movement, the hypocrisy. Brother's argument literally is there's an invasion happening. Voluntary migration into the United States by people, okay? It doesn't matter if they're military age, by the way, which is ridiculous to be like military age men. Okay, dude. Like, the fuck do you mean? Why are you implying that they're, like, coming in to invade the country as though they are, like, a military force and not people who are just simply trying to make a living? Same as you. They're just brown. So I guess it's different. Same as your fucking dumbass parents who probably came here just 2 or 3 generations prior. That's the only difference here. That's also a hilarious fucking way to frame this in the United States of America, because, like, this is a nation built on immigration. This is how it started. He was a fan of your J-Rock cosplay, at least. That's awesome. At least he liked my at least he liked my Gerald cosplay. Respect.
In decades, requiring the border to be temporarily shut down when migrant crossings hit 5,000 a day, boosting the number of Border Patrol agents and speeding up the asylum process in an effort to end the controversial catch and release policy.
It would not resolve any of the problems.
House Speaker Mike Johnson, a Trump ally.
I love that the only thing that the Democrats are doing here is, like, masterful gambit. Haha, we push for the most right-wing framing that you could possibly arrive at on this issue, where we will always fucking lose. Okay? Masterful gambit, though. The Republicans actually hate immigration. The Republicans actually love migrants. It's like, do you hear yourself? Do you hear the words that are coming out of your mouth? Like, this isn't a win, idiot. How do you explain the Chinese military bases in some USPS offices then? Chinese military bases in some USPS offices. It's over, brother. China has taken over. Okay? Yes, China has invaded America. President, Supreme Leader Xi Jinping put a military base in every USPS office. Okay? And why did they do that? Specifically to steal votes, to do mail-in ballots to help Joe Brandon. I used to work at USPS. That shit ain't there. Dank McMuffin. Maybe that's why they fired you, brother, so they could hire a Chinese man. Anyway. Also, what happened to the chatter? I asked him to deliver some scathing analysis here, and he just shut the fuck up. He quieted down so quick. Oh, he did? They did offer me some incredible analysis. Let's hear it. Start with this.
From the lower class.
Can you please ask your chat to stop dogpiling for having an opinion? I'm getting attacked with the whispers. Start with this. It's recent and it covers a general way in what I'm talking about. Dude. Here's my source. A 1-hour YouTube podcast between two people that I suspect is saying the most mentally ill things I've ever seen in my entire life. Brother, this is not an argument. You didn't present an argument. Give me some fucking evidence.
System would necessitate this fusion of these different entities. So we'll see what happens. There has been a lot of talk of, different cyber attacks happening this year from the WEF and from other entities. And what better way for, the financial system, which is sort of on its way to ruin anyway, to absolve themselves of any wrongdoing and point the finger at faceless hackers and then come back as this, newly.
In an era where the data is the new gold mine and AI influences every aspect of our lives, we stand at a crossroads between technological empowerment and dependency. Join Whitney. Wait, what the fuck? What does this have to do with immigration, man? What are you talking about? This is like an entirely irrelevant subject matter here. The fuck? What is this? SDGs.UN.org goals? What? The Department of Economic and Social Affairs Sustainable Development, 17 goals? Bro, are you lost? Did you just send this to me to be like, this is the win here? This is the ownage? So you can't even give me the respect to read a paragraph? How can we talk? Brother, the only reason why we're still currently talking is because it's entertaining to showcase your mania here, okay? I'm sorry. But you're talking about the AI influence, which is here. Let me explain something to you. I'm a leftist, which means that I believe that there are material realities that dictate our culture, dictate our way of existence, oftentimes, not oftentimes, directly that are shaped off of the way that we create commodities and consume them. This is our entire culture, okay? This is everything that we know. Our material conditions are fucked under a capitalist organization of the economy. This is what I believe. So you, much like many other liberals, okay, engage with the subject matter from an entirely different framework. Our fundamentals are different. I believe the problem is the structures that we exist under. You think the problem is like good or bad, okay? Like evil people, good people, bad people. Maybe you think like something in between, but you feel like there is a more of a spiritual, ideological reason for why things are occurring in the way that they're occurring. Because of the fundamental differences that we have in the way that we think, when I see something new like AI, I immediately recognize that as a new technological achievement that is going to displace the pre-existing labor pool, because that's how all matter of efficiency works under the capitalist organization of the economy. It's not the technology itself that is a problem. It is how this tool is being used. the bosses use every new tool to displace the pre-existing workers instead of making their lives easier. Okay? That's it. That's it. They're going to email you. Okay. You look at a new way, a new tool that is displacing the pre-existing labor pool and think it's actually because of immigration. Immigration is going to make it worse. I try to describe to you that this is going to happen with or without immigration, and you have to change the system. That's the problem. And many people don't want to recognize that the problems are baked into everything that we experience. The system that we exist under is the issue. Capitalism is the issue. It's not AI that is an issue. It is how AI is used to displace workers that is an issue. And that is always going to happen, even if you have immigrants or you don't have immigrants. Okay? I'll give you another example. A lot of white supremacists think that, like, if America was a fully white country, okay, the Pareto principle would magically not apply. The Pareto principle, for those who don't know, in the sexual marketplace, something that Jordan Peterson talks about all the time, is that the top 10% of dick is having sex with 80% of women, okay? And then the 80% of men have to just fight for the bottom 20% remaining, okay? It's a very gross way to look at the situation. I don't agree with it, but if you believe in the Pareto principle as it comes to the sexual marketplace, then your solution still cannot be to make America a white supremacist nation. Why? Because if everyone is white, the underlying problems still remain. The top 10% or 20% of white dick is still going to fuck 80% of the white pussy, okay? You didn't solve the problem. You just made the problem white. That's it. And this is the way that a lot of people experience the world. They think AI is an issue. Yes, okay? Why is it an issue? Because it displaces the existing labor pool. It makes it more efficient, and efficiency under capitalism means that it's not the workload that is getting lighter. It is the workload getting worse, actually, because one worker can now do the output of 10. Okay? What do you mean make the problem white again? If you are a no pussy having ass motherfucker, but you're white, even if you live in a white nationalist dystopia that you believe is going to solve your problems of being a no pussy having white guy, it's not going to fix it. You're still going to be in the 80% because you didn't try to fix the problem. You didn't actually look within. You didn't actually look at the systems. You didn't look at the structures. You just thought maybe white supremacy is the answer. It's not. Anyway, sending me a fucking podcast with like a crank in it talking about AI that is completely irrelevant to immigration and trying to haphazardly tie it back to immigration is silly. And then going and sending me the United Nations Development of Economic and Social Affairs Sustainable Development 17 goals is also additionally ridiculous. Oh. Hasan, you have to admit no poverty is bad from the UN. Yeah, like, dude, I can't believe they want to end poverty in its all forms everywhere. That's really fucked up, dude. I hate that. Anyway. It's a self-defeating phenomena that comes from copium, by the way. You're absolutely correct, Stevie X McFly, something I talk about quite frequently. White supremacists believe in it because they have nothing of their own to be proud of and trying to value and tying their value to their accomplishments of others with similar skin tones is their brain's defense mechanism against the constant desire to nap in the garage. Absolutely. That's what you do when you're a fucking loser. Okay, I often joke about like the Ottoman Empire and its glory or whatever the fuck. Okay, that way of thinking, if serious, is a way is loser think. It is. It stems from not having any accomplishments of your own and basically automatically making yourself feel like you are still superior because, like, guess what? The color of your skin is good. Anyway, it's just dumb. It's a very dumb way of thinking. But beyond that, not only is it a dumb way of thinking, but it's copium, and it forces you to not see the real issues.
Is urging fellow Republicans to reject the deal, knowing immigration policy is a political vulnerability for President Biden.
First bill I introduced was on the border. Why won't they give me the help all this time?
Meantime, the House is preparing to move forward with an impeachment vote today against Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, who helped negotiate this border deal. If passed, he would become only the second cabinet official in U.S. history.
Look, my top priority is security at the border. With all those people flooding in, there's no way to keep track of them all. I'm not the guy who thinks we need to shut crossing down entirely, but what are we supposed to do when the border towns are overwhelmed? This is our country and we have to defend it. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, dude? No. There is no invasion happening. There is no invasion happening. There's no way to defend the top of the hour ad break. That's actually a really good fucking segue, you son of a bitch. I didn't want to give it to you, but I felt bad because you tried so goddamn hard. So I'm going to give it to you, okay? This guy literally did a Taylor Swift leak style QAnon breadcrumbs ass top of the hour ad break debate, and I have to celebrate it. I didn't want to steal that from you, okay? If you break this down by reading the third word of each sentence, you'll be singing a different tune. Top of the hour. My man said hour, not hour with an H. That's excellent. I mean, you did a fucking puzzle here, okay? You did a puzzle here, and I respect it. I think it's a valid fucking segue. Respect. You get that one. Of course, if you want to avoid those ads, okay, at the top of the hour, all you need to do is subscribe. It's not a real puzzle. It's not very complicated. It's uncomplicated, as a matter of fact. You can subscribe for $5 or free with the Twitch Prime, or by getting gifted a sub. It's a 3-minute ad break now. Have you reacted to this MSNBC broadcast yet?
Talking to these folks who have come from all over Texas, even other parts of the country.
Dude, this is fucking crazy. MAGA convoy makes it to the border only to find out that the invasion they told about doesn't exist.
Here, and some of them, even though we are about a half hour from Eagle Pass, have driven down to Eagle Pass to try to actually see what's happening at the border. And I've spoken to a number of people who said that they're...
I love that while this is going on, the liberals are like, no, you don't understand. There is an invasion, okay? It's like, there is a real problem at the border, and we have to fucking deal with it in violent ways. But like, I wouldn't get, all of my liberal friends in an RV and go down to like kill them personally, right? I want the machine to grind them. I love that the liberal position, if you are to listen to Chuck Schumer, right, is that no, there is a real problem at the border. You don't get it. There is a real problem at the border. It's just that the way to fix the crisis at the border is by letting the machine handle it. Right? It's great. Yeah, 666 chatters voted.
A little surprised by what they're seeing here. I want to play a conversation with a woman, Misty. Take a listen.
It's pretty surreal. We actually made it into Eagle Pass and we went and saw Shelby Park. I was able to see some people actually trying to cross and stopped at the wire there. So it's very eye-opening.
And tell me more about eye-opening. Is it what you expected? Is it better? Is it worse?
It's not what I expected, but then again, I don't know what I expected. I can tell you it's not as bad as what I thought. So that's kind of eye-opening in itself too. Yeah.
I hope people understand that this right-wing framing and this madness is also a continuation of the madness that the Democratic Party also plays into by doing this. Okay? The underlying problem is built around a falsehood, a false notion that immigrants are actually scary. Do you understand? It's so scary and so sad. It's sad because the Democrats are doing this thing that is like they've done 1,000 times over. I call it the John Kerry phenomena. Okay? The John Kerry phenomena. I was talking to one of my friends about how I've been watching you for 7 years and they were going off on a tangent saying you're not a socialist, says that you're nuts and being used for propaganda. This motherfucker said you are yay before he went to the psych. I think his brain has become broken. Yes, I'm being used by George Soros. Scary George Soros is guiding me to push for open border immigration policy and also Islamist fundamentalism and Sharia law. It's so cool that like every single type of fucking narrative that I've heard from psychopathic right-wing Republicans in the beginning of my career, okay, I'm hearing again, over and over again. What is this? Lex Friedman is seething. Your friend is right. Yes. Yeah, I am. I'm pushing for Islamic Mexicans. Islamo-Mexican. I'm an Iranian proxy. Thank you. That is what I told him. He's gone so far right is bad. Yeah. I'm an Ottoman imperialist who is also an advocate for Islamo-Mexicanism. The jihadi Mexicans coming over the southern border, brother. They will implement Sharia law and tacos in every corner. I fucking love that. You're the left-wing George Santos. Yeah, that too. Okay, but the Ottoman imperialist part is true and you know it? No. You want to know why it's not true? Because I'm fucking joking. I don't think that it is better overall. Oh, okay, you're joking. All right, sorry. I hear it so much from people that like it makes me feel like people take that shit seriously. No, I don't give a shit. I just described how stupid it is to like hyperfixate on former glorious empires or whatever. It's loser shit. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if the fucking Balkans are controlled by the Ottoman Empire or not. I don't give a fuck. Who cares? I want people to be happy. Okay? I want people to have a life worth living. Okay? It's like looking at when I say Flexicans are Turks and thinking, wow, he must mean this for real. He's being for real when he says that.
And the toughest set of reforms to secure the border ever. Now, all indications are this bill won't even...
Sheltered Rosebud comes in and is like, always brings in the most annoying energy. I respect you, Sheltered Rosebud, for this. I know you won't stop talking about Palestine, but will we be talking about Gaza today? So sorry to be annoying, but I'm very passionate. Every day you come in here. Every day you come in here and say that. Okay? Sheltered Rosebud every day comes in and is like, hey, I know you haven't gotten to this part of the broadcast yet, but can you get to this part of the broadcast now, please? A real one. I respect the dedication. I admire what you are doing, okay? So, I take you seriously when you talk about French people and anarchists. Yeah, you should. Where were we? Oh, here it is. All right, let's Let's talk about Biden urging the Congress to pass the border security foreign aid bill amid GOP opposition.
We move forward to the Senate floor. Why? A simple reason. Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump thinks it's bad for him politically. Therefore, he doesn't, even though it helps the country, he's not for it.
This one thing that I have to remind people here, by the way, is that this framing not only is bad because it like is antithetical to the things that you pushed for when you were running against Donald Trump, and it's also bad because like you're never going to win. Like I said, this is the John Kerry phenomena. When John Kerry is propped up against GWB, okay, the Democratic Party said, well, this is a decorated, celebrated veteran. He was in Vietnam. This guy is the best, okay? This guy's a Vietnam veteran. What did GWB do? George W. Bush didn't fight. He didn't serve. Right? All he was doing was serving margaritas, getting DUIs. And what happened to John Kerry? The Republicans turned around and were like, yeah, dog, John Kerry is gay as hell. He's not a real patriot. GWB is the real patriot. You can never out Pizza the Hut, and you can never out patriot the Republicans. That's it. They own patriotism and what they fucking believe patriotism actually is. Patriotism isn't actually about like serving in the military either. So stop with this nonsensical bullshit. But the Democrats never learned that lesson. They kept pushing it. They still do it. They did it with like Amy McGrath in Kentucky. It's just crazy. You will never win on the border issues. You need to message against it. You need to tell people the truth. And the fact that the Democratic Party had no response to all of this border crisis, manufactured crises at the border for 4 fucking years is so frustrating. We are actively making everyone around us dumber. We are making America's dumber and dumber and dumber. Biden wouldn't be pushing the border if it wasn't for needing Ukraine aid. Okay, here's the thing. You want to give Ukrainians weapons, okay, and you want to fund that through Congress? Fine. Then say you're going to do that. That's what you want to do. Try to advocate on those conditions. Try to make it punishing for the Republicans not to vote for Ukraine, but you can't do that because you know deep down inside that Americans don't really give a shit about Ukraine. We've moved on from it, right? Same with the Israel funding bill. If there was a genuine counter to giving $14 billion of weapons to Israel, okay, and if it wasn't like going to be bipartisan regardless, then Americans would be like, okay, I don't give a shit. I don't want to give Israel $14 billion. Who fucking cares? Okay, deep down inside, we are selfish people. And that selfishness could be a good thing sometimes, okay? Like giving money to Israel. But he's not doing that. He's not doing that at all. He's not separating the issues. He's not saying like, well, here's what it is, Jack. We got to give Ukraine more money and more guns. They got to defend themselves. Republicans for years set up this agenda by basically saying immigration is a national security problem. It's not. Okay, that is not a correct way to frame the immigration problem. It is an economic issue, right? And it's only an economic issue because of a lack of processing and a lack of documentation, not because these guys are like nefariously coming in to steal American jobs. Okay? The solution to that problem, if there is even a problem there, is to allow them to be documented so they can also advocate for their wages, their fair wages, alongside the rest of the documented labor pool. Okay? Here's the thing. Regardless of all of that, if your goal here is to fund Ukraine, then fucking say that. You don't have to take on right-wing framing on immigration to simultaneously push a funding package through that will send money to Ukraine. If the issue is that serious, if the issue is that severe and you believe Americans do care about giving Ukraine money, make that argument. Make that argument separately. The fuck are we doing here? When you capitulate and concede to the right-wing framing on the issue, the framing that Marjorie Taylor Greene was making, the argument that Marjorie Taylor Greene was making 2 years ago, that we laughed at, Democrats are making now. The idea that why are we caring about the Ukrainian borders when we don't care about the Mexican border? That was an argument that Steve Bannon was cooking up. That was an argument that Marjorie Taylor Greene was cooking up. And now that argument is being repeated by Joseph Robinette motherfucking Brandon. Are you insane? That is so crazy. That's so dumb. Democrats went from vote for me for harm reduction on immigration to actually vote for me because I want to be the one killing the immigrants. Where's the harm reduction? Separate the bills. If you want to ride for Ukraine, separate the bills. Don't tie it to fucking border policy, and definitely don't adopt a right-wing framing on border policy that your enemies pushed for. You fucking idiot. The right will always defeat you. All you do when you take on their talking points is normalize the position that there really is a problem at the border when there isn't one. The problem at the border comes from the fact that we don't want to process these people when we should be. That's it.
He'd rather weaponize this issue than actually solve it. So for the last 24 hours, he's done nothing, I'm told, but reach out to Republicans in the House and the Senate and threaten them.
This is such a stupid way to fucking argue. This is literally like Redditor brain shit. It's like a gotcha. We got him. The Republicans, turns out, doesn't care about actually funding the border. It's literally the same. It's the same mentality behind going, no. We are the ones who really want to fund the police, not the Republicans. Like, the Democratic Party looked at an entire year of protests, Black Lives Matter protests, and said, here's our messaging strategy. We want to fund the police, not the Republicans. The Republicans own the police, okay? They do. Adopting right-wing framing on these issues is never going to cause you to win. It's only making your side feel like there is a real problem. You have to counter message against it. Republicans are so good at counter messaging that they make up issues where no such issue exists. They do a great job. They fucking create like a phenomena. They're like, ooh, trans people, scary. Watch out. They cause their fucking fan base to believe that trans people are like actually, trans species now. And the kids are pissing in kitty litter in schools. And then even if there isn't enough momentum on that front, even if the people don't care about it enough to like actually make that their single issue voting, they still push for legislation at the state legislature because they know how to win. They know how to get their agenda across. And then Democrats a couple of years later turn around and go, yeah, you know what? We do have an issue with these trans kids. Okay, we got to fucking fix that. Like, it makes no sense. It feels like we're voting for the Democratic Party so that they could push the exact same message that they were ostensibly against the prior election cycle. What are we doing? Yeah, vote for the Democrats. They will adopt the framing on central issues that they're supposed to be against 4 years after the Republican Party. That's great, man. Thank you. I genuinely think this stuff is starting to shift public opinion. So many apolitical people I know are now asking, why can Congress only pass bills that give money to foreign nations for war? Why isn't there any money for stuff we want? That's an ongoing thing. What? Hasan, Texas is succeeding in displacing immigrants to other states. MA is overfilled with immigrants. We need to do something down there. Anything is better than nothing. I know you rail against the Dems party, but doing something is a popular action. Failing to act is also bad. You're so wrong on this. I never said do nothing. Okay? I have talked about this quite a bit, as a matter of fact. The problem is that, as you also correctly pointed out, Texas is funneling immigrants into other states without giving them a go-ahead, without telling them ahead of time that they're going to do that. I don't believe that Massachusetts is overrun with immigrants, by the way. That part is ridiculous. You have to arrest Greg Abbott immediately for trafficking migrants across state lines. That's number one. Number two, you have to give additional federal funds to these states to help with the overflow. That's it. I can't believe you're looking at a system, you're looking at a situation where someone is like very openly trying to fuck up the process and use real human beings as a political pawn with like actual human trafficking, like people being shipped off to other states like they're parcels. And you think the real issue is that, we're not stopping immigration. You've already conceded. You might as well vote for Greg Abbott. You might as well be a Greg Abbott defender at that point. Could it be argued that the Dems leaning into it because their constituents already believe it, that there's a problem at the border? It's harder to deprogram them than it is to lean into it? Brother, you know that the Republicans are going to push for immigration. Do you think there's a new caravan every 2 years during the midterms or during every election cycle? No, when they run out of other shit, they go back to the hits. That's it. They're playing the hits. So when you know that, work against it. What kind of fucking loser shit is this? We know that they're going to push for immigration being an issue. We knew that they were going to push for crime being an issue in big cities. All of that was a lie. 90% of my job as a political commentator in the United States of America is basically yelling at a fucking brick wall. I have to take into account the psychopathic fantasies of people who are basically hallucinating because the television man is telling them that there is a real issue here. It's fucking crazy. The solution is to stop it. Okay? The solution is to stop it. To stop Greg Abbott from being able to ship migrants like they're fucking cargo without informing the facilities or the people in the other states. And anyone that doesn't see that as the major problem here is losing sight of the reality. You put the cart before the horse, you jumped a couple steps, and you are now looking at people becoming more reactionary as a consequence of what they're seeing in the fucking television. It's crazy, guys. The fact that that kind of shit goes unpunished also is completely unacceptable. You might as well be supporting it yourself at that point.
Them and try to intimidate them to vote against this proposal. And it looks like they're caving. Frankly, they owe it to the American people to show some spine and do what they know to be right. So I want to tell the American people what's in this bill and why everyone, from the Wall Street Journal to the Border Patrol to the Chamber of Commerce, the United States Chamber of Commerce, support this bill. Because it's going to make the country safer, make the border more secure, treat people more humanely and fairly, and make legal immigration more efficient and consistent with the values of our nation and our international treaty obligations. It would finally provide the funding that I've repeatedly requested, most recently in October, to actually secure the border. That includes an additional 1,500 border agents and officers to secure the border, to physically secure it. In addition,
like this is almost identical with the Republican line of thinking. Okay? What do I mean by this? Governor Greg Abbott spends hundreds of millions of dollars shipping migrants to other states instead of utilizing $100 million in processing said migrants, okay? In hiring more people, in hiring interpreters, in hiring more legal aid, okay? In hiring or spending that money on shelters, okay? It's about where you put your interest. It's about how you want to deal with the issue. It's so stupid. Isn't this just J.D. Vance or whoever signing on a dead or alive M4A bill? It's bullshit messaging. Yes, but the difference is Medicare for all is a good thing. Right-wing framing on immigration is not a good thing. Okay? So J.D. Vance is not the one who is literally writing the Medicare for all bill. He's signing on it. Do you understand? There's two different reasons as to why this sucks. One, it's not like J.D. Vance is the one who's like, I actually love Medicare for all. I've decided that like we are the party of Medicare for all, as a matter of fact, and we are the ones who are going to push for Medicare for all. Also, Medicare for all is good, objectively. Okay. The Democratic Party writing the bill basically themselves and adopting the messaging and adopting the points that like immigration is a real problem is a dead ender. It's a complete loss for them. It's a major L for them. Not counter messaging against like Republican fear mongering on immigration year round is a major L for them. We keep ceding ground on these issues. Republicans keep winning despite having genuinely unpopular ideas.
100 cutting-edge machines to detect and stop fentanyl at the southwest border. We have that capacity. An additional 100 additional immigration judges to help reduce the year-long asylum backlog. You show up for asylum, and the judge is supposed to talk to you. It takes a year to get that discussion going. This bill would also establish new, efficient, and fair process for the government to consider an asylum claim for those arriving at the border. Today, the process can take 5 to 7 years, as you all know. They show up at the border, get a bracelet, told to come back when called, 5 to 7 years from now, in country. That's too long, and it's not rational. With the new policies in this bill, and the additional of 4,300 more asylum officers who spend hours, I might add, with each immigrant to consider their claims, whether they qualify, will be able to reduce that process to 6 months, not 5 to 7 years. This bipartisan bill will also expedite work permits so those who are here and who qualify can begin work more quickly. That's something that our governors, our mayors, and our business leaders have been asking me for and asking them for. All across the country, they've been asking.
The fentanyl crisis, is the fentanyl crisis real, and does it actually have to do with the border? It is real. And no, it doesn't have anything to do with border crossers. Okay? That is one of the dumbest things that you could ever fucking say as a Democratic politician is it's just complete misinformation. Look at the Department of Homeland Security's own numbers. Fentanyl is trafficked across regular points of entry. Okay, that's good. Hasan, you skipping over that quick work visa? What do you mean? That is not a valid concession. When the other side of it is literally just doing everything you can, like shutting off immigration across the board at 5,000, capping it at 5,000 encounters, that's crazy. Okay? This is an incredibly militant bill. It is also built on top of real ideas that like immigration is actually a matter of national security. That framing is so busted. I'm so sick of smug leftists hating Dems that reduce all critique of U.S. policy America bad when shit is clearly not good. This border shit is not good. What kind of mental gymnastics are they engaging in at the moment to make a W for this guy? Wait, what? Are you talking about me? I'm a smug leftist hating Dem that reduce all critique of U.S. policy as America bad? Is that what you're saying? Huh? Are you delusional? At that point, I just don't understand it. If you're saying that like this is smug leftist hating Democratic or leftist hating Dems. Oh, I got it. I misunderstood what you were saying. No. You're saying that leftist hating Democrats keep saying like this is good. Okay. I thought you said the leftists that hate the Democratic Party. Anyway, do you think the ruling class wants people to become more reactionary on immigration, knowing the future border crisis coming with global warming intensifying? I'm sure that's part of it. The bill also requires that single adults remain in camps, which they are spending to double in size. There's also $480 million in new funding for Trump's wall. This is a far-right bill. 1,000%. Okay, here. 1, mandatory closure of the U.S. border based on trigger numbers or quotas. The bill creates a new statutory authority for the Department of Homeland Security to close the border to people seeking asylum after certain trigger numbers have been met. It's 5,000 encounters. If over the course of 7 days, the cumulative number of people arriving at the border or between ports, or regardless of whether they're actually processed for asylum, reaches 4,000, the authority is discretionary. When it reaches 5,000, or a single day's encounter exceeds 8,500, the authority is mandatory. As a mandatory shutdown. Can you imagine? When the authorities trigger, DHS is required to turn away or expel all people arriving at the border without so much as an asylum screening. These are people who are well within their legal rights to actually arrive on U.S. soil to seek asylum, and we're turning them away mandatorily, like making it the law. Okay? The provision means that a person's access to asylum in the United States depends on luck of the draw. No due process. Whether that they happen to arrive at the border during a period of closure, and if so, whether they happen to be able to get to a port before 1,400 other individuals, a quota-based asylum lottery violates the United States compliance with its obligations under the Refugee Convention and would mean regularly sending people with strong asylum claims directly back to their persecutors. Okay? A similar policy known as metering was found unconstitutional by a federal judge under Trump. That's the thing. Trump tried to do this. It's literally unconstitutional. Not that it fucking matters. On the ground, this expulsion authority will mimic what we saw during the Trump administration with the enactment of Title 42, which was the CDC provision, by the way. Like that it was a health risk to let these dirty migrants in, you know what I mean, over the border. Because they're bringing in COVID. Like we gave a shit about COVID. The only time we ever gave a shit about COVID was so that we could shut down the border. It's crazy. Under Title 42, human rights monitors track more than 13,480 reports of murder, kidnapping, rape, torture, and other violent attacks against people blocked in or expelled to Mexico. The proposed legislative change would fuel and incentivize organized crime on the border, creating more chaos and confusion, not less. Okay? Yeah. But this is Biden getting completely rolled. This is why we didn't want Biden to be president. He's always getting rolled by the right wing. He's not getting rolled by the right wing. He's deliberately rolling to the right wing. That's the thing. That's the problem. I don't think it's like, oh, he's just a bad negotiator. I covered this. This was also heavily featured in Ryan Grimm's early book, We Got People. So for those of you who are interested in that or want to know more about that, this was a very famous deal where Biden sidestepped Harry Reid. Well, this is a newer version of the debt ceiling negotiation with Kevin McCarthy. But under the Obama administration, Biden sidestepped Harry Reid. It's a long story. I don't want to get into it. Fuck, I have too much information in my brain on this stuff. Okay, let's continue. New fast-track process for asylum processing at the border under surveillance with no judicial review. What the bill does is it creates an entirely new asylum screening process called protection determination for people arriving at the border who are not subject to expulsion. This new process would be concluded entirely by officers within U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services with no judicial review whatsoever. People denied asylum under this process could be denied asylum and deported in under 90 days without any right to request review by a federal judge or even an immigration administrative law judge. Okay? And also, they would be placed under the protection determination program, would be under heavy surveillance, either in the form of a GPS ankle monitor or through electronic monitoring. Remember, 95% of people that are asylum seekers go to and attend their court date. 95%. It's vile. We're just like marking people. It's crazy. The new process will render due process illusory for most people seeking asylum. Just eviscerates due process. No more judge. No more situation where like you have a reasonable person giving you what you are constitutionally afforded, okay, in the form of due process, and also what international human rights law dictates, which is that you have a right to seek asylum in the United States, okay? You have a right. It is not only moral, and it is immoral for us to deny people the right to seek asylum inside of our borders. It is also illegal. But guess what, dude? Private prisons that are going to have to take care of the overfill, those guys are going to make out like bandits. We're going to have to pay them. We're going to have to give them a lot of money, okay? We're going to have to hire private contractors, new ankle monitors. Like, think about all the money that gets circulated around in that process. Yeah, GEO Group and Civic Group stocks going high. The complexity of immigration law, punishing timelines and obstacles caused by electronic surveillance will make it extremely difficult for people to find lawyers or get the information they need to fully articulate their claims. Indeed, for people, DHS's current non-detained expedited removal pilot, fewer than 3 in 100 people actually have legal representation. Further, the judicial review stripping provisions of this bill will mean that many are wrongfully deported because of a bad decision-making at the agency level that cannot be corrected. No legal recourse whatsoever. This program also envisions a dramatic expansion of immigration and customs enforcement surveillance and monitoring program, GPS ankle monitors. Number 3, heightened standards and new bars to eligibility at threshold asylum seeking. The bill envisions nearly all people arriving at the U.S.-Mexico border to seek asylum being placed into expedited processing under either the new processes described above or with the existing expedited removal process. Under either system, a threshold asylum screening determines whether a person is able to present their full asylum claim to an adjudicator. This bill heightens the standard of review in all threshold screenings, including the existing credible fear interviews used in expedited removal and threshold screening in the new process described above, known as protection determination. The new standard will require people to show a reasonable possibility they could establish eligibility for asylum rather than a significant possibility, which is the standard in current law. So they're upping the standards. The bill heightening the credible fear standard will mean that many of those who are in the most desperate need of protection will be unable to access asylum, like rape, murder, domestic violence is a big one here, right? There is a femicide occurring in Mexico which was one of the safe harbor First Nations under the Trump administration's policies that dictated that if you actually go from Guatemala to Mexico, for example, you have to stay there because technically you didn't go to the first immediate country that wasn't your own, right? Now, the irony itself is that there are people in Mexico that are also fucking escaping Mexico to come to America. So how the fuck are you going to turn around and make Mexico a safe harbor if it's not a safe harbor for Mexicans? Crazy. Indigenous peoples, LGBT people. Oh, here, the Biden administration's asylum ban, which already imposed the reasonable possibility for most credible fear screenings, has already tripled negative findings and returned refugees to harm. Indigenous peoples, LGBT people, and people with complex asylum claims, such as survivors of gender-based violence, will be rushed through with fear screenings without the time and support they need to understand how to articulate the legal basis for their claims. The vast majority of asylum seekers are unrepresented when they undergo their credible fear screenings due to the rapid nature of these screenings and their frequent occurrence in ICE or CBP custody. Under these conditions, asylum seekers have been unable to retain their attorneys and deported to danger. Number 4, entrenched criminalization of migration through increased detention, prosecutions, and border wall funding. That's the other part of this. People talk about the fucking coyotes. People talk about the drugs being funneled over the border. The issue is not having a safe, legal, and efficient process to rapidly process incoming migrants that are seeking asylum legally. When you don't give this opportunity to people, they look for alternative measures, alternative means. Because if you're being fucking hunted, let's say, or if you're a victim of domestic violence and you have nowhere to go, and you want to escape into America, and you know that the American government is going to deport your ass back to fucking Mexico, then you're going to do everything you can to scrounge up every fucking peso you can and go into the United States of America by other means that are extremely dangerous, as a matter of fact. Okay? That's how you find yourself dead inside of a fucking inside of a container in the back of a goddamn 18-wheeler with 42 other migrants, like it happens in Texas all the fucking time. The way to reduce the number of fatalities in border crossings that die on the Rio Grande or die when trying to cross some of the worst treks in that border, okay, that are incredibly gruesome, the conditions are awful in the desert, is not by making booby traps for the children in the Rio Grande. It's by opening up the processes so that they can come through with legal measures. Okay? All this does is create a bigger industry for those who want to. All you're doing is incentivizing people to come through illegal and illicit measures. You're giving money to the cartels. If you're worried about the cartels, this is the greatest way to help them. Okay, that's it. Something to also consider here. The bill provides $3.2 billion for immigration detention, historically high levels of detention funding that surpassed the immigration detention budget during the years of the Trump administration, by the way. Okay? Remember that. The Trump administration, more than the Trump administration's budget. Things that the Democratic Party railed against when Trump was doing it, now they have adopted and are championing themselves and trying to push this bill. The Democratic Party is trying to push this bill. If only the Republican Party ate that bait and legitimately were like, yeah, actually, we are going to pass this bill. You think this is good? You think this would be overall a productive thing for the Democrats to push for? You think any singular fucking Republican would turn around and be like, well, they did push a really comprehensive immigration reform, so I'm going to vote for the pedophile vampires who are socialist and want Mexicans to come fuck my daughter. You think that guy is going to turn around and be like, you know what, actually, I am going to vote for Joe Biden, even though he's a demented pedophile vampire? No. All you did in this situation is make the border crisis worse, genuinely a fucking crisis. You didn't want a single fucking vote, and you normalized the position in your own audience, in your own side of the fucking bargain. That now Democrats are like, you know what? Actually, Mexicans are rapists, as a matter of fact. Mexicans are trying to come and fuck my daughter. So maybe we should do something about it. Good job. All this does is push the Overton window further to the right. This is the ratcheting effect, even though it's worse than the ratchet effect. Because in the ratchet effect, it's at least the Republican Party that is like pulling the country further and further right. And then the Democrats are basically stamping their seal of approval without scaling it back in the leftward progressive direction. In this circumstance, it's worse than the ratchet effect because you're pulling the fucking country towards the right too. You're pulling the country in a reactionary fascist direction. Now your MSNBC watching parents can listen to Al Sharpton talk about how there's an invasion happening on the southern border, which he said yesterday. We watched it yesterday. Now your MSNBC watching libbed up parents can also feel in the same way that the Fox News watching parents feel about scary immigrants coming over the border to rape your daughters or whatever the fuck. It's awesome. Thank God. And it's like if you normalize that position inside of your own party, if you normalize that position through your own organs of propaganda, like MSNBC, then why shouldn't they inevitably vote for the Republicans, dumbass? If I'm watching MSNBC and the MSNBC is repeating the exact same thing that Fox News is repeating about fucking immigration being a genuine problem, the only thing I'm seeing is Biden is fucking weak. Biden is old. He also admits that immigration is a problem, but he can't even fucking put forward a deal that the Republicans will agree on. But you know who I think will actually do whatever it takes to purify the blood pool of this nation that is being polluted by Mexicans and Guatemalans? Donald Trump. That's it. Why? Why would I vote for the old man who can't purify the blood pool, who actually won't do anything about the great replacement that is occurring, that white people no longer are the dominant force? Now I'm believing that white people are the dominant force. Now I'm believing that immigration is a problem. Now I'm believing that Mexicans are rapists and they're invading. And if I personally believe that, then Donald Trump is my guy. So why is the MSNBC people not recognizing that? Thank you for proving my point for me. Agenda 2030, bro. Yeah, exactly. This is it. The guy who is so brain broken literally thinks I'm in agreement with him because I just repeated what the Democratic Party is saying. Do you understand? We got the most mentally ill motherfuckers. If you are wondering how QAnon and all this other stuff like blows up so hard in America, why is American politics so fundamentally flawed, so brain broken? This is a part of it. Okay? That's it. The bill provides $6.8 billion to Customs and Border Protection and $7.6 billion to Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Again, historically high amounts that are intended for surveillance, programming, infrastructure creation, and detention and deportation management with few guardrails. The bill provides $210 million for incarcerated detention and transport of people facing federal criminal prosecutions for migration-related offenses, which is likely to mean increased use of prosecutions for people who attempt to enter the U.S. outside of a port of entry. The bill further entrenches a carceral approach to the humanitarian challenge of processing people seeking asylum at the border. People should never be punished for seeking safety, yet that's exactly what immigration detention does. Immigration detention is rife with sexual, physical, and verbal abuse, punitive use of solitary confinement, denials of basic necessities and medical neglect, even slavery. Remember, that's another wonderful outlet for us. Immigration detention separates families, produces less fair outcomes, undermining the due process rights for people seeking asylum and their ability to fully pursue their claim. The bill also lines the pocket of private prison CEOs who lobby mightily day in and day out for exactly the type of provisions found in this bill. But it doesn't end there. The bill also funds the border wall construction. Dude, I had a flat tire last week, and the truck driver who towed my car had me ride with him the entire trip, and all he did was talk about Agenda 2030, and I was trying so hard not to laugh, I ran into an IRL hogger. I love that shit. I love experiencing hogs in the real world. Okay? I do. I think it's awesome. It's just that when we're having a conversation about, like, with the big boys, okay? When we're having a conversation, like, with adults and what adults should be doing, and the Democratic Party is supposed to be the adults in the room, we cannot be capitulating to the hogs, okay? Democrats are pushing for a Agenda 2030 bill. The bill also funds, if you don't agree, you're wrong. You're either with us or against us. Democracy in action, I knew it. You're either with us or against us, very extreme. Wait, what? Brother, I am against the Democratic Party. I don't know if you understand this or not, but I am against the Democratic Party. I think a lot of you have very binary thinking when it comes to American politics. Okay? Can't Dems win this by writing a border bill without the foreign money part? Then there's no excuse not to pass it. Brother, I don't want to pass it. No, and they will not be able to pass this. They should have never written this bill to begin with. This is crazy. What are you talking about? It's a bad bill. This bill is bad policy and really bad politics. It's crazy to me. Like, this bill looks like it was written by a Republican because it was written by a Republican. The only difference is Democrats are now saying we actually champion this far-right white nativist immigration agenda. That is insane. I feel like I'm losing my mind. People say Democrat, you got to vote Democrat. You got to vote Democrat for harm reduction. And then the harm reduction is just the Democrats doing the harm themselves. That's not harm reduction. This is so stupid. Like, as long as we got like a rainbow flag on the side of the Customs and Border Patrol units, that it's fine, that the system is perfectly fine. We're just doing it, but in a gay way. Is that what it is? Yay, Democrats. We'll drop bombs on you, but we'll do it in a gay way. Homofascism. The fuck? The irony, of course, is that they don't even defend gay people, okay? Republicans are actively moving in that direction, too, with no recourse from the Democratic Party, with no defense from the Democratic Party. At a certain point, it's not even homofascism. It's just fascism. It's not even gay-friendly fascism. Before you know it, it's going to be, of course, as is the way how fascist movements are designed, anti-gay fascism. I'll give you an example on abortion so you have a better understanding of this. It's like if the Democratic Party were to say, you know what, the right-wing framing on abortion is correct. Abortion is murder, which is why we should limit abortion. So here, we're going to pass a bill that limit abortions ourselves. Oh, wow, the Republicans are not agreeing with me on limiting abortions. They must be so hypocritical. We are the party who now thinks abortion is murder. You're like, if that happens, which, by the way, it did. That's what Hillary Clinton used to kind of do, for the record, kind of allude to. If that were to happen, you'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? I got into an argument about this with my lived up parents, and they kept telling me how when Trump was doing the things he did at the border, it was different because there was an actual crisis. Exactly. because the actual crisis was being presented by Fox News. And when Fox News says it, it must be fake. But when MSNBC says it, they've never lied. They would have no reason to lie. They would have no reason to defend Joe Biden unconditionally, right? So on that front, it's actually real. There is a real crisis now because the TV man said so. The TV man that I agree with said so. Same with Biden. What is the same with Biden? Yeah. The border wall and barrier construction wreaks destruction and causes irreparable harm to the borderlands and millions who call the border region home. Border wall construction during the Trump administration resulted in the bulldozing of Native American burial sites, the dynamiting of pristine mountain wilderness, and unjust seizures of private ranches and farmlands. Okay, hold on. It includes literally all the border wall funding that they were demanding. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Yes, dude. Yes. The funniest part is every Democratic Party voter turns into like an armchair quarterback Democratic Party consultant because that's the way that MSNBC likes it, right? They don't think about it on the boundaries of this issue. They think about it like, well, this will probably be good for independents to come and vote for the Democratic Party. And it's like, you're a fucking idiot. No, it doesn't. Okay? Like, you have to sit there and think, is this correct? Do I think that this is a good bill? Do I like what's in the bill? Do I like the impact of this bill? That's the first thing you should be saying because that's the reason why you voted for the Democrats. And then the second impact should be, are Republicans going to look at this and go, wow, this is a good bill for them? Now I actually will vote for the Democratic Party. No? Okay, then why the fuck are you pushing for it? And also on top of that, why the fuck are you advocating for right-wing framings on issues? Thank you, Hasan, for shitting on the Dems this much. Right-wingers are low-hanging fruit, so this discourse is pretty important in my mind. I'm shitting on the Democrats because they are doing right-wing shit. If they weren't, like when Joe Biden beefed up the NLRB, I gave him his fucking roses. Okay? I'm fair. That's the problem. I'm fair and honest to a fucking fault. That's why people get so mad. They're like, what? This guy's not playing team sports. He's not telling me what is what. He's not telling me that that Biden is actually doing the best expert 5D chess move here. Well, you can get that from MSNBC if you want. But before you know it, you are also going to be incredibly right-wing because you're now sucking in this framing for no reason. It's not correct. It's incorrect. This bill isn't going to pass. It's not. Couldn't this just be a stunt so the Dems can point the finger at Republicans for not taking action? If that is the case, that is the most idiotic way that you could do this, okay? That is so unimaginably stupid. Why? Why is that stupid? Because you just conceded that there is a major problem. There's a crisis at the border. What do you not understand about this? Adopting the right-wing framing on immigration, knowing full well that the right already is going to run on immigration no matter what, is the most idiotic thing you could push for. Okay? It's the dumbest thing you can push for. And I've been saying this about all matter of Democratic Party policies in perpetuity, and it seems like nobody fucking hears it. Here, Osita says, friend of the show, I'm sorry, but the wait, so Republicans never really cared about border security stuff is hard to take if it's in earnest, and if it's not, I wouldn't expect it to be more successfully politically than when the Dems tried. Actually, it's the Republicans who wanted to defund the police. I said this exact same thing yesterday, and I said it today as well. Oh yeah, we're the ones who want to. We're the ones who actually want to fund the police The Republicans are the ones who want to defund the police. That's not a fucking good argument because they don't give a shit. Republicans own the police. Yes, this may represent a gargantuan concession to the right that will change the politics of immigration for years. But on the other hand, Dems got a new talking point about how Republican dysfunction. So who's to say who won here? Exactly. This is not worth it. It's the dumbest fucking way to do this. You went against all of your campaign promises about harm reduction in an election cycle, in an election year. It blows my mind. How fucking stupid are you? It is so unimaginably dumb, dude. Just trying to outcompete Republicans on reactionary, right-wing, racist policies is a dead ender. You're always going to lose. Basically, you're saying the mechanics, the Dem leadership and MSM rule the dynamics of voters in elections are wrong. Independents won't like this, or independents don't exist. I disagree. I think Biden and the Dem leadership like this bill, to be honest. I think that this bill, in and of itself, is very beneficial for people who are incredibly right-wing on immigration, people who are going to benefit greatly from immigrant detention processes, people who are, for example, in the business of having stocks within GEO or Civic Group, like all these other companies, the private prison facilities. Those are the people who benefit from this, okay? But as far as like the Democratic Party winning anything on this, it's not even a good messaging bill is what I'm trying to say. Because you have now adopted the right-wing framing on this issue. There is no problem. Republicans invent the problem. First, it's like the psychopathic Republicans that invent the problem. Marjorie Taylor Greene and like the Breitbart, or not the Breitbart, sorry, the Steve Bannons of the world. And then 3 years later, it's the Democratic Party on an election cycle adopting that right-wing framing and saying, yeah, there is a problem actually here. We're the ones who are going to fix it in the right-wing, in the most right-wing way possible. And then the Republicans go, nah, actually, we're going to leave it up to Trump. We're going to use this as an election issue, as a matter of fact. And they go, see, they don't care about the border. Lol. It's like, yeah, dude, they don't care about anything. They just want to win. Who gives a fuck? If they don't care about the border, why are you trying to make that argument through this? In my opinion, Dems can win by increasing avenues for merit-based legal immigration and cutting out the foreign money part of the bill. Dude, Joe Jorgen's son. Of course, with a name like Joe Jorgen's son, I suspect you already personally are a libertarian who, wants to implement merit-based immigration, not thinking about all of the restrictions on free travel that this bill features, building a wall and all this other stuff, eminent domain to build a wall. Libertarians fucking falling short of their supposed principles every single time is awesome. Okay? My man, this bill is awful. Okay? It's an awful bill. It is a dog shit bill. It is a right-wing bill. I just described to you exactly why it is, point by point, on why this is a dog shit Republican bill that the Democrats are pushing for. The only thing that's Democratic about this is that it's the Democrats pushing for it. That's it. Nothing else says this bill is progressive or even good for migration. That's it. Why are Dems pushing away from proven popular points with their voters? Because they have I think they just have bad oversight. They have bad wonks. They have bad analysts that are telling them wrong things. I didn't even get to the foreign policy part of the bill, by the way. After suspending UNRWA funding, U.S. aims to send aid to other agencies operating in Gaza. The bill also cuts UNRWA funding entirely. The foreign policy side of the bill dictates that they fucking give $17 billion to Israel so they can keep, accelerating their baby murder. That's the real reason why the Democrats are pushing for it, by the way. Yeah. And like $10 billion to Palestinian groups that will go through Israeli subsidiaries and not UNRWA because they politically wanted to take a stance against UNRWA after Israel put forward fake bullshit that there were 13 UNRWA members that participated in October 7, which, by the way, it was also, turns out, a fucking lie. Shocked, I tell you. I cannot believe Israel lied once again. Oh my God.